Hey everyone, this is video number 4 of the WGU RN to BSN program. Sorry for the big time gap between this video and the previous video. I think the last one was May 6th, so it's been a couple weeks. Part of the reason is I think I was just starting my work stretch probably about 2 weeks ago, and I just finished my week off, so I finally have a little more of an update for you. But I think the last video I was talking about was doing the health assessment and my plan for that. So it was not too difficult of a course really. So I think I had mentioned before, for the health assessment I was planning on doing just using one of the scripts that someone had basically provided in the Facebook group. And so I kind of went with that. It actually worked really well. So I had my wife help me with the video. She was the patient. And I basically really did just read off the script the whole time. It was pretty straightforward. With each little step I would kind of pause and do whatever the step was. Other than that, I did the virtual assessment on the patient, which wasn't too bad. If you get stuck and you're not really sure what to do, there's a helpful file in, again, the Facebook group, kind of going over some of the questions you need to ask and some of the assessments you need to do. So I definitely recommend taking a look at that. I also completed 228, which was like the community health one, I believe, and that had to do with the whole Sentinel City thing, which overall wasn't too difficult. Again, there's some helpful files. If you just go to the Facebook files group and type in 228, people kind of have some rubrics and things to look for. So I'd recommend doing that. That one didn't take too long. I think there were, I want to say, 3 components to that. But that one took me a few days to complete. And then I just finished 820, which is the big group, the live class group that you have to do. And for that, you have to end up doing 4 of the Go React videos, which really aren't that difficult. And they want you to have short videos. Pretty much every time you submit one, they say it needs to be less than like 4 minutes or 3 minutes. So they don't want you to ramble on and on, just kind of like get to the point. What I would do to kind of get an idea what they were looking for would be to just watch a couple other videos, which you need to do anyways, because you're supposed to comment on 2 other videos. So it just kind of shows you what other people are doing, kind of gives you an idea of what to talk about. But I really don't think that they're gonna look like super close to the videos. I mean, if you upload a video and it's like 30 seconds long, they might not let you pass with that. But if you hit at least 2 or 3 minutes, you'll be fine. And they have questions that you need to answer. And honestly, it'd be really easy to make a video that's 8 or 10 minutes long. So you really need to focus on just kind of keeping it short and sweet to the point. And then for the comments I would make on other people's videos, I wouldn't be saying anything too specific. Just kind of listen to a little bit of what they say and mention like, oh yeah, that was a good point when you talked about this, or that's a great idea. So pretty basic, but yeah, there's 4 of those you have to do. And then there's 3 other tasks I believe you have to do. And sorry, there's stuff in my face. And actually on the 3rd one, because I tried to get it done early, because I just finished the live classes on Tuesday. And I think I was working on it like the previous Friday or something. And I actually had the task 3 sent back because they said I didn't talk about a certain thing or something. So I just reiterated and went into some good detail about the point that was missing. Then I sent it back and it got reviewed and I passed pretty easily with that. So at this point for 820, I'm just waiting for the course instructor to complete the attendance part of it is one of the main tasks, which I went to all of the live sessions, so that shouldn't be an issue. And then the other component, she said it was more of a behind the scenes kind of thing, which probably includes like basically saying that you completed the Go React videos and you commented, and kind of some other things, like maybe you participated a little bit in the class and the live sessions. So that one hasn't turned green yet. And I actually emailed her just to make sure, because you have a week after the class ends to complete the videos and all the tasks. But I'm pretty sure I have everything done, so I'm just kind of waiting for her to give me green on all those. But I did email her just to double check to make sure there's nothing that I missed. So then I started 304, which is professional roles and values. And it was pretty dry paper, honestly. A lot of it is just basically reiterating what certain websites or certain articles are saying. Like, they want you to find out like what the role of the FDA is. I mean, it's super basic. It's like the Food and Drug Administration. I mean, that basically says it right there. And then you compare that to like I can't remember, the USDA or something, I don't know. And then you compare like the State Board of Nursing to like the ANA, which is kind of interesting. I mean, the State Board of Nursing sets rules and regulations for nurses, what they're allowed to do and what their scope is, things like that, versus the ANA actually promotes basically for nurses themselves. So you can kind of think of it like the OSBN is like HR, like you don't want to get involved with them, and their goal is to not really defend you, but rather like the bigger organization or the patient or the client. And the ANA is more like a union rep who's going to be on your side and promoting, you know, better working conditions, better staffing, you know, things like that. Kind of interesting breakdown. But again, a lot of it was just really basic. You know, what does your State Board of Nursing say regarding if your license expires? What do you have to do to get it back? Things like that. Not super exciting. Talking about delegating. I mean, it's just kind of like a random little topic to bring up. But anyway, there's a lot of points that you have to go through. It's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And I think a good amount of them had like 2 to 3 little points underneath as well, each of those. So it's kind of just a tedious task. I would recommend, depending on your schedule, working on maybe a couple or a few pages a day, depending on how fast you want to get through it. But you could literally, if you really wanted to, you could probably do the whole paper in a day. If you just averaged like a page every hour or so, or 45 minutes, you could get it done in a day. It would be super boring, and it's hard for me to do stuff like that. But I probably sat down and did it over maybe like three sessions or so. But I would do about a page or so, then like see what my wife was watching on TV, listen to some music, click around on the internet, and then go back and like do it. And I'd do either like a page at a time, or I'd work on like a point or two. Like I'd do like E1 and E2, and then like, okay, I need to do something for my brain because it's gonna fall asleep. But other than that, the two other tasks involved basically like an ethical dilemma that you have to write about, and it wasn't horrible. I actually had it get sent back to me to revise. So far I've had to have a lot of things revised, which is okay with me because my goal is not to get 100% on all these papers that I turn in, but rather kind of to shoot for not the bare minimum, but a little bit above that, because for me, I don't see a lot of point in going overboard and trying to get like exemplary on everything. I know some people are like that, especially in the nursing world. Some people like go through prereqs in nursing school and they want to get 100% everything, and if they don't, they feel like a failure. I'm not like that. I prefer to be like above average is a good spot for me. I think it's a reasonable place sort of on the arc of, you know, knowing what I'm talking about and just basically the effort I want to put into it. So anyway, so I had that one sent back. And so again, I would basically just go back to the one section that they needed more clarification on. And I really just drilled the point home. to the point where I added like a whole paragraph and literally stated, this is where I would apply justice in this situation. So it's just like clear as day, no question about it. Other than that, there was a portfolio shell component to it, which if you kind of know what you're doing, it will probably take you maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I believe that is task 2 or 3, one of those, 2 or 3. But basically I did it wrong. You have to like copy a link that is viewable by people at WGU, and I didn't do that, so the person couldn't even view it to start. But once I got that cleaned up and figured out, I was actually able just to submit it, and the person looked at it and there was no issues with it. So I'm basically waiting for 304 to be done, the task 1 paper, which is the big one. And then next I believe I'm doing 489, which is, I don't even remember. Honestly, I'm kind of going fast through these classes, and I don't remember the titles to all the numbers. I just email my instructor and say, hey, I want to get this one lined up. So as soon as I'm done, I can just start the next one real quick. I might be expecting possibly a couple revisions on this paper again, because there's so many topics. If you go through the rubric, it's just like 2 or 3 pages of, unsatisfactory, approaching competence, or competent. And so I wouldn't be surprised if I had to clean up 3 or 4 sections, which is fine, because usually it's just little things like, oh, you didn't talk about this specific little detail here. So I would just go back and just go over that point. But once I do that, I'll have 489 left, and then 361, which I think is the evidence-based practice paper. I think that's kind of a bigger one. And then I have 229, and then the portfolio. I can't remember which one the portfolio is. 463, I think. There's just so many numbers. But one thing in the Facebook group people were talking about a lot, and I don't think I mentioned it before, is the whole 229C, 229 versus L127. So basically, normally with this program, 229 is your actual community class, where you go out into the community and you're supposed to spend 60 hours. So you're talking about addiction or suicide is your thing. You're supposed to spend 60 hours in the community being involved with either like an addictions counselor, or where do people go if they're feeling suicidal? Like, what are the resources available in your community for that? Maybe going to support groups, things like that. So it's a long time to spend, I feel like, in a setting like that. So what they've done with this whole COVID-19 thing is they created another course called L127, which is similar, but it doesn't have the component of the community in it. And so with this one, people were saying on the Facebook group that you can actually finish L127 in like a day if you really put your time into it, or a matter of a few days or a week, which is a lot faster than 60 hours plus doing all this other stuff for that class. I think it's supposed to be kind of like the big thing you do for the program, but with so many states just now kind of starting to open up, I think it's good that they're not requiring people to be on the phone, I guess would be an equivalent answer to it, as far as community time, because who wants to be on the phone for 60 hours? I feel like that's unreasonable. But with that, I cannot do L127 until I have only that class done and the portfolio class to go, or course to go. So I have, I believe, 4 more courses left. So I'm gonna try and get through the next 2, like, hopefully quick. I'm just starting my work stretch, so I'll be lucky if I complete the next course over this time, just because I don't feel super motivated during my work stretch to do things. But I know during the next stretch on, I'll definitely get 1 done. Hopefully 489, I'll have my next stretch on, hopefully get a little bit done for the next class, and then I'll be able to do 127. I did email my mentor about switching to 127, because some people said it can take a few days. I'm not sure why, but it takes a few days to have you switch from the 229 to the 127. I said, hey, how can I make sure 127 is ready to go as soon as I'm ready for it? And she said just give a couple days, you know, when I'm starting to finish up one of the other courses, to see if she can get it switched so it's ready to go when I'm ready to take it. Because I'd really like to get that one done, and then pretty much from there, that's basically it in the portfolio, which I don't think is horrible from what I hear. But yeah, that's where I'm at now. I'm definitely not completing courses as fast as I was initially, just because it was easy to take the tests, at least for me. I completed like 5 or 6 courses in like my first week of the program, and now I'm going down to like 1 a week, which is still great. Even if I spend my whole stretch off working on one course and getting it done, which is still really fast, I'll be done by the end of June, because today is the 21st. So I still have it, I think, done by the end of June, which I would be okay with, which would make my time in this program 2 months, which is great, because that's definitely faster than the 6-month goal I had originally. So anyway, I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, just put them in the comments. I've been trying to respond to people. I think I've done an okay job so far. And then I'll also add links to my other videos in case you see this one first and you want to see the others. So good luck with the program and stay safe out there.